It's 6 p.m. New York City time, and welcome to the Hair Nerds, and thank you for the invitation. I do know that you're one of my favorites, and basically what I'd like to do is we're going to share this opportunity this evening to basically go through some of the ideas and the concepts of what happened when I got through to being a finalist for the North American the actual editorial one. Now, to enter the editorial category, you have to have a story that is in a fashion magazine of certain levels that is sold to a consumer either online or in a bookstore or anywhere around the world. This is basically what is the actual collection that was featured in Mod magazine. So I'm going to break down the actual looks. It's probably, I think, about a 12-page story. And I think it's really interesting because, you know, there are different kinds of hairdressing. There's salon work, there's editorial work, runway work, there's hair show work, there's films. There's all these kind of things that really depict different kind of things that happen up here. But when we're looking at editorial, we're looking at something that really is going to kind of complement everything else. So I was thrilled not only to get the feature, but actually to get the cover. So let's break down our first look. And this is really the look that we have over here. So if I take this off and through here, you can kind of see the correspondence in through here of the fantasy of the wig, and then the whole kind of concept when it's kind of worked through with makeup, wardrobe and photography. And by the way, I shot this myself. I'll talk a little bit about my hobby as a part-time, not a professional photographer, because I think they have more skills than what I do. But you know what? You hang around with people long enough, you pick up the skills, and sometimes it's worth having a go. So let me just kind of take the actual basic little principles that I use that are really just kind of like the fundamentals. What I've got through here is just like a little polystyrene headlock that what I do is I use food wrap, and then I wrap this around this quite easily and simply. It doesn't need to be perfect. All it is quite simply to protect your piece that you're making. When I first started, I didn't do that, and the piece that I made got stuck to the top, so I had to pull and rip it off, and it kind of destroyed it a bit. Once I've made the piece and it's dried, then what I'll simply do is just get a pair of scissors, and then what I'll do is simply just take this, and then all it'll do is it'll peel away. So you can use other things, by the way. These are just my little ways of doing it. There may be things that you might know as well. I like to work on a block to get the fundamentals done. Then I have a prettier block which has eyelashes on and makeup and everything, and that's where I'll do the refining. Some basics, you need to do some sewing, so I want like strong cotton and a needle that basically will enable me to get in at the scalp without piercing the scalp. I like this kind of netting. You can have other fabric and setting hair down, yeah, on the wig. The golden thing that I love are these T-pins, and you can buy those basically Office Max or any general kind of store. And then what you can do then, you can kind of pin them and do everything that you want to do. So think of this as almost like your scaffolding or your multiple tool that does many things. It's really the foundation to what I do. Some strong glue if I'm kind of putting things together that need a little bit more substance and structure. A brush, I know this is silly, a painting brush, particularly when I'm doing a lot of gel looks, I really want to layer on that gel a lot. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Good tail comb, a detangle brush. I like these because, as you know, you can basically build shapes on. This is good for building structure that come in different sizes. Products are important. Osis, Schwarzkopf Professional Osis products are my favorite because I can really create all the different textures that I want. If I want something matte, I want it smooth, I want it uber strong, or I want it really, really quite natural. This is my favorite as well, the Bonacure, basically fiber force, which is great for working on wigs that tend to be over processed and everything, especially if you're combing them, you're setting them. You have to kind of think when you're working with these looks, you have to kind of think it's real head of hair. It's not a dead piece of hair, it's a sculpture that you're making. Anyway, so let's take a look at our first wig that we kind of have through here. So I showed you the kind of look. I'm not really a person, if I'm honest with you, of doing endless storyboards. I know that storyboards are important. They're important, I think, for a team that needs clarity. on the vision from a look of your photography, the hair looks that you're doing. So in this case, I was working with a wonderful makeup artist called Ayakudo, which is a wonderful Japanese makeup artist I've worked with many times. Tucker Williams was the actual wardrobe stylist, so I'd worked with Mia before. So we actually didn't have a concept. The concept was I made all these pieces, and then the makeup artist and then the wardrobe stylist, we got together and we kind of just quite free-spiritedly worked. I probably have a little bit more flexibility in regards to the whole kind of total looks that I'm working on. In other words, I'm the one that's in charge and I can really kind of direct where I want to go. I use wigs for a point of view on this instance because I can easily get through many looks. There was, I think, probably up to about 12 looks that we worked on. So if you think that you're going to work on real hair and you had to set hair, curl hair and all of that, you may not get through a lot of those looks as quickly or have enough time to focus on this. So these literally are made by hand. They're all done weeks before. But this, I love the actual kind of very shellacked look. Days for this to dry. I might want to speed it up with a diffuser, but you've got to be very careful. The diffuser can sometimes cloud it or make the product clumpy, so sometimes I'll leave it and almost let it dry naturally. But if you look at it, all it is all I did was to mold on a piece of head, just some very simple pieces. Sorry, one's dropped on the floor, and just, you know, wefts of tracts of hair that had been sewn together. And then what I would do is simply, you know, gel them. Make sure you put lots of product all the way through, so it's really soaking. And again, what I do, or I use the tail comb to sculpt. And all you simply do is take a head and then you pin with these through here, your T-pins, and then simply what happens there is you kind of mold them. So if you want this to be flat, then what you would do then is kind of, you know, put through there. It's not rocket science. It's been done before. But I think what's important is long, where I'd taken all of these, and then what I did, I mean, I literally put loads of the spray, which is a firm spray, and you can see until it's dripping. And then what I would do is simply let that dry, but make sure it's really dry, because if it's damp, it's going to split and it's going to fall apart. And then quite simply, all you do is get a pair of shears and clean up the edges a little bit. I mean, that would be unacceptable. However, you may look at it, you may decide to pull it apart even more, so it becomes more of a focus. So I wanted this kind of look to have, you know, a kind of very deliberate kind of cartoon. It's not real, has nothing to do with everyday salon hair. It's all about creating an image that basically is this kind of look that we're having through here. And I think when you look at it, I love the glasses, and it's all about the detail, even the nails. Bit of dust there, get that off. But you know, the nails and the reflective quality, and I like the sheer. But you know, I'm working on a professional model, so this model knows how to pose. The hand's in the right place, the head is at the right angle. So that contributes to not only the hair, the makeup, the photography and everything else, but without that girl there really wouldn't be any shoot. Yeah? So please, if you are looking and just joining us, I'm breaking down my NAHA awards. I'm a finalist in the editorial category, and I'm breaking down some of the looks for you tonight. Don't forget to check out my Facebook, which is Damien Carney. And by the way, I'm full on that one, but you can join me on Damien Carney Professional. My Instagram is Damien Carney Pro. And don't forget to check out my website, damiencarney.com, where you could experience a cutting program or a photographic program where you can get to see this actually happening live. So the whole idea is, if I don't get to answer any of your questions tonight, I will personally answer all of the questions that are put forward. Be very small, be your points of view, maybe it's a technique or an idea that you want to share with everybody else. Okay, so we open up the presentation now in the magazine. And here you can kind of see now the whole kind of story unfolding in its entirety. You can see the big bold font and the title of the look. I really, really like this look that we're seeing on the left-hand side where she's got the eyewear and that red wig. She looks very Linda to me, yeah? Kind of supermodel with very, very gelled hair. It's kind of like 40s, 50s, you know, kind of very plastic pop and everything else. I like the redness of the actual wig that was made. And basically what I wanted to do was to create hair, again, a bit of an extension of my first one that was really kind of very, very gelled and very, very kind of stiff. So if we look at this one, now, when I'm looking at my wigs and I'm buying wigs, I tend to buy wigs that are human hair. The reason why I do that is because you can curl them, you can cut them, you can colour them. It does everything that real hair does. Now, my investment can be quite expensive. It could be up to $1,000, it could be $1,500, but I can't tell you too much about this, except that I've had this wig for 10 years. So it's gone through many, many looks. It was once a light colour. As you can see through here, it's become very, very thin. But hey, that doesn't matter, because that wasn't the focus of the actual look when it came to actually being shot. I knew that the key focus with the actual look was really in through this front area, and that's the way that it's going to be shot. And I think it's important when you move the head around, and whether you lift and show the eyes a little bit more. I mean, simply just the positioning of something. I know the face is a bit, well, obviously I've burnt that one, so she's all broken down there. But just by moving and tilting it and doing different things puts a different perspective. So don't always look at your work through one way. Look at it, maybe put it on back to front, inside out, and you never know. If it's a bit silly and it doesn't look good, you can change it now, because the great thing about digital, within an instant you can check it and get approval. So the first technique that I showed you is an extension of this. There wasn't a lot of hair on through here, but I didn't mind that, because I liked that I could get these very, very light, transparent kind of squiggles. And they're kind of buckled. They're not perfect. It's almost like they've been squashed and mangled. And yes, there are some gaps in through here that basically didn't show, because all I did was basically underneath, what I did was to put on a wig cap. So I put up the model's hair in a flat wrap, just wrapping it all around with very light hairspray, and then putting on a wig cap that I had, which basically matched the colour of the wig. So that would, you know, stop that from showing. But I don't object to that, because I think that's kind of part of what I think is cool. Somebody else will look at it and they won't. And I think it's important that you have your own kind of identity to what you do, and to stand out from the crowd. And keep in mind that this photo shoot that I submitted has to be submitted to a consumer magazine, not a trade magazine. So originally I did not shoot this for NAHA. I shot it as an editorial story to go to a fashion magazine. And lo and behold, it got printed, and it was ideal for me to enter into the actual editorial category. And through here, what I'm going to do is on my Lex look, this is going to be reborn again on a different photo shoot on a different model. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to twitch it back to front, and then what I will do is have a very close shot of something that will just be a head. No fashion, just amazing makeup. And then what I will do is I will shoot it and get a very kind of unusual kind of finish. High key lighting that's really going to be very stark and very bright, so you can see the shine on the hair and you can see all the details. It's almost like she's been in the rain and the hair's all gripped all the way around the face. There's something quite nice. But you love it or you hate it, and hate you don't like it, throw it away. Now, that was look number 2, I believe. Get a bit of dust off that. And what I like about this is reproduced really well from this magazine, as in the colours and everything. So I'm very much a photographer, a hobby, I should say. From learning through my trial and error, I'm all or nothing. I like natural stuff, I like bright stuff, I like sharp stuff, and I like the saturation of the colour and the contrast. In other words, the dark shadows are dark and the lighter are lighter. I don't like soft things. You know, if someone's going to cut their hair off, cut it off. If someone's going to have long hair, have the most amazing long hair in the world. Now, I have to say, this on the next pictures is probably one of my favourites, because I think everything is just very beautiful. The look in her eye, her makeup, and just the body position. She's got the right shoulder up, and there's not really much fashion in that. It's all about the hair. Then it's pulled away on the other side, and then you see more of the fashion. Now you can see that it's a wig, it's supposed to be a wig, but what I wanted to do was, if we look at the top of the head, is that I wanted this to almost look like it was very plastered down and almost had like a rubber kind of consistency. So it really takes the context of hair out into another fabric or another force. So hopefully you're all having a good time out there. We're on 15 minutes into it. If you're just joining me, don't forget what I'm talking about is my editorial category for the North American Hairdressing Awards, which I think is incredibly for the industry because it allows us to push our work forward. So if you are a regular person that enters, wonderful. If you haven't, I would highly recommend. I try to do it every year, and I think what it does is it keeps me on my toes, it gives me a purpose. So what I'm going to do is to break down this kind of look through here. This really was kind of very simple because I knew that I would be working with more a longer length as opposed to the other two looks that I showed you. So this was a wig that I'm going to show you now that basically started off through here. That I was into this kind of, things that we saw on the runway where the hair basically looked very, very damp. Now, it is a real wig. It is real hair. The texture that you have in through here did come with that, so I didn't set it. It was actually hair that had a bit of movement in it. Although this has been brushed out compared to the original image, what I did through here is I simply just got a lot of product, and here I'm using, some hairspray. And then what I did was to literally load it on, load it on, load it on, load it on. And then what I did was to flatten it, and you can see there, look, that what that will do is it will make it look very kind of synthetic, plasticky looking. And by doing that, what I could do then is really kind of brush it through. Can you see by using the brush? Then what I would do then is get it dead flat. Now, what I would do is I would do that obviously on a mannequin. I've taken it off. The focus, obviously, I cut the fringe really, really short. This has been washed since I did my original image, which is this one. You can see it's much straighter down there. And the volume is all the way around the ends. It's kind of very, again, 40s, 50s kind of glamour, but what makes it, I think, a little bit more modern, the areas on the top, the areas that are flat are mega flat. And then it goes into these nice voluminous edges that have some kind of transparency. Now, this will be re-shampooed. The great thing is by using the right products, which give you the right texture, what you can do is simply shampoo and again treat the hair with my fiber force, and then all of this will release out, and then I can recycle this and basically recut it. But I think a really, really good example of going through different journeys of how this model really kind of started off as a front cover, which has got to be eye-catching, all the way into something a little bit softer. And I'm a great believer that, if you're doing your photo shoots, that you're not only doing it for yourself, for hair, but also you're branding yourself. And an image can do so much for your business, your personal profile, and most important, your heart, what you want to do and express with hair. And I believe that, doing a little collection like this can really do mega, mega wonders for your business and your team. It should be a team spirit. Now, moving over, I have to say, this is another one of my favorite. I just love all the elements. I just love her eye contact. I love the detail in the hair. I love all of this metal mesh down here, and just the little finger perfectly kind of placed through there. So I think this is real, and I love that the lipstick is kind of very, sparkly, but not overwhelming. The makeup artist really did a great job of kind of complementing, not upsetting, and not overburdening or overdoing. And the same with the wardrobe. Reflection, reflection, reflection. Look at the eye. There's even reflection in the eye from the lighting itself. So with this one, it was very, very simple because all I did was to focus on the front area. The back of the hair is a mess. It's all pinned, it's all put away. There is a little wig cap that's been put on, so that flattens. Remember my wig cap, you put them in different colours and everything else. So let's look at the actual wig itself, and then you can kind of see through here. This one was looks like a plate, yeah? So this originally, as you can see through here, it's got little clips on it. There was this stitching that was there that kept all the hair together. I kept it on and then gelled it, and then afterwards I cut it off so I got a cleaner fit. But you can literally, you can see, look, the wig base, yeah? So it's a partial wig. It's only something that you would put on the top or add to other people's real hair. I did get the hair coloured, and basically you can kind of see the colour tones and everything. And then all I simply did was to place the hair on with lots of my conditioner, which is my Fibre Force. And then once again, what I did through here is I used sparkler. So I put loads of sparkler on it. Yeah. Then I mixed that with some of my freeze pump, which is basically a firm spray. Look, you can see it now. But what I did then is I had to get my comb through it. Yeah. And then what I would do then is comb each individual strand. And then what I would do is I would T-pin each area. So that would be, you're better to work from maybe one side, then do the other, and work to the center. Work on underneath, and then work on the areas that are going to basically fall down on top. So I wrapped it around my fingers and hold it, just like you do in painters. And then all I did is I put a lot of these in, these and mold it and everything else. And then once I did that, then I let it dry really. I didn't want to put it under the dryer because I find sometimes the heat can kind of sometimes separate and disturb it, even if it's on low speed or soft speed. So I left it to dry. But you can see it. It's very, very strong, very, very hard, and I think really, really effective. Now, will this wash out? Absolutely. What I can do with this is recycle this. I break the hair down in some hot soapy, shampoo, allow it to kind of release all the product, and then what I would do is condition, and then I would recycle that again. But as you can see in the photography, you can kind of see what we have through here. The lighting is a little darker, and also the kind of filtering in Photoshop just kind of makes it a little bit deeper in color. But I think it's really kind of an excellent way. I would say this would work really well as a detail shot, and that really is a detail shot there. Yeah? So that's that look through there. So I think at the end of the day, what we have to kind of do is kind of think of your concept. Concepts are really, really important if you're working with people that you've not done before, or sometimes you need a concept. I don't believe you need to have many pictures. Maybe there's 2 pictures of a makeup look, or 3 pictures of your hair look, and maybe 2 or 3 with your wardrobe. I think sometimes you have too many images within your concept. It can be counterproductive and can contradict. In other words, 70s, 90s, 50s, you're going to make your mind up on where you want to go. And especially communicating with your team. To me, it's all about chemistry. If you have the right team, you're going to create the right looks. And if one element, from makeup to hair to model to finish to use the wrong products, if one of those things are off, you'll usually see it in an image. And when we all look at those pages of Vogue, or Inspires You, Pop Magazine, V Magazine, where you see their strong editorials, they're working with the best of the best. So they're all in sync. And I think the great thing is like anything, you can do shoots for once, twice, many years, and you walk into that studio and it's like learning all over again. It's a whole different experience. Now, with this look that we're having through here, this is kind of my little, what I'd call braided look. But it's braided with little braids that have been braided and sewn together. And I wanted it to almost have, a very kind of flat feel again, running through. And it almost looks like it's lattice work, or it's intertwining. And also there are different colours in there that kind of pick up. Like on the left side of the image by the ear, you can see that there's this kind of lilac colour, yeah. On the other side, there's a bit of blue and there's a bit of everything else. If you kind of look at it, again, it's that very, very kind of tight Capulet, kind of, what I mean by that is very, very tight flat head shapes, kind of almost looks very 20s in somewhat, except it's done with braids. The unfortunate thing is you can see the sad look over here that's now been taken out of the bag, and it's been a little bit more twisted and broken. But actually, I don't mind that one either too. That one kind of looks a little bit cooler, and I don't even mind the pale face of the mannequin. So sometimes what I'll do, like this phone here, the iPhone, I'll always take a picture and document what I've done. So what I'll do is I will take a picture at different angles and see what will happen when we start to play around with it. Would it be better if I pulled this forward? Would it be better if I pulled it back? Would it be better if I made it go that way? Oh, see, when you're working with a little asymmetry. Sometimes when you're working a little bit more odd, I think it looks good. But at the end of the day, what you've got to do, although these are quite strong, I still believe that they're quite pretty and beautiful in a unique way. And we've still got to make the essence of that beautiful model pop out. Otherwise, we're just creating things just for the sake of being, I think, a little selfish and too indulgent. It has no purpose. So if I kind of break this up in through here, you can kind of see. They're just little, there you go, I'm going to pull it apart because this will have another life itself. There you go. So it's a little string of hair, and basically what I did is cut them into different pieces. There are different colours, there's some blue, there's some bleach, there's all these different colours. And then what I did is that I applied again. One of my favourites is the freeze pump, and then what I did is I sprayed it so it was wet. I did it actually on the hair damp, really loaded on, and then I braided it and pulled it apart. And then what I did was to T-pin it, and then what I did is simply just put it on the head and let it dry. So by doing this, what it does is it creates a really kind of nice kind of texture. So obviously if you're going to set it that way, you're going to take it off, it's going to have a curve. So mixing it all up with lots of different kind of shapes and textures really gives them thing. Once you've got all these little pieces, then what you have to do then is reassemble. So it's like creating Lego. You're creating shapes with Lego. What I do is I T-pin them all together. In other words, I'll create my shapes, pin them, and then once I've got my shape final, then what I'll do is sew them. But I'll sew them only very gently so it lasts me for the shoot. I want to be able to take this out, wash this hair, and rework it again. And by the way, it is real hair. And then it will have a life of its own. But you can kind of see, you know, you look through, it's kind of got this kind of transparent look, and I think it's really kind of interesting. And I sometimes, a lot of my friends, I don't actually get to work with them much, but a lot of them are very famous hairdressers and makeup artists and stylists in the editorial world. I mean, they really are the leaders of the industry. And I get the opportunity to sit and chat with them, and the silly ideas that they all talk about that often was never on the concept board are often the most successful ones and the most groundbreaking. So what you can do is you can do lots of different things with it. I'm a great believer, you know, having something and then just simply breaking the rules and putting it all on back to front, yeah? So, you know, even if it means that, you know, you see a little bit of the hair and you only see that one eye and you've got bits sticking out, it's kind of very, very abstract and kind of cool, I think, yeah? Then what I'll do is I'm going to show you a few more, and then how we're doing, I don't know, we are good. Hopefully you've got some questions for me. We're up to about 30 minutes. You've just joined me. I'm Damien Carney, and basically I am sharing with you some of the ideas that were basically the concept of my editorial submission for the North American Hairstyling Awards. I was quite thrilled that I managed to get the front cover. I did the hair and the photography. Photography is a great hobby of mine. I love to do it. I learn so much. If there's one thing I can get any of you guys, anybody that doesn't do it, even if you don't need to be an expert, you can even use your iPhone, it doesn't matter. Taking a picture of your work, be a client, be a look, be something you're practicing, will really confirm your work, your direction, your taste, and everything else. So I think it's a great way of kind of documenting different things. We've kind of gone through several looks, and then if I kind of flick through a lot of images through here, and then, you know, she's sitting down, a lot more skin, a lot more leg. I love this one. It's kind of, you know, where the hair has kind of got little pieces that are sticking out. It's almost like a wire brush of hair, yeah? And it kind of matches the fur on the edges. This is what I just talked about with the braids, and that's another beauty story for another day. So I'm a great believer in using the right tools, and you'll discover things that you may not have thought would work for a reason. And often when you look at something, this one here has not been shot yet, but basically it is a wig that is a full wig. It's not been cut or anything. I bought it this way. It is laced at the front. I could tuck it in so I could get a very, very clean hairline. And then what I'm going to do is basically I put lots of Osis gel on this, which basically makes it so it's rock hard. I mean, literally, I just dried it upside down. I just tipped the head upside down so it just dried. I dried it naturally. And then what I'm going to do then is when I'm doing a shoot, which has not been planned, I would arrange this on the head in a way that basically is going to look really kind of cool. I think that's very cool right now. I actually love the dark spray paint from a previous mannequin that I played with. And there's no commercial value in it. It's about, you know, having, getting outside the boundaries and trying things that you wouldn't normally do. I mean, I love my classical work and salon work as much as I do this. I think it's nice to have some kind of variety. And then if you turn it this way, you know, you turn it this way, yeah. So it really has to turn it this way. Obviously, I like the contrast of the front. You know, maybe you shoot it and the model doesn't have eyes, and maybe you quite simply take that and it's just lips. Maybe what you do is you take it and you mix it the other way around as well. So you could have it asymmetric, you could pull it apart. So it's almost the great thing about having these all pre-done is that you can kind of play with them and put them in different kind of ways. I like this well as well. This one was a very, very simple one. It's on my website, you'll probably recognize it. But it's just, again, wefts of hair that basically have been kind of sewn together. So really soak the hair with the gel. And then what I did is then combed it through so it was flat. So again, once it's rock hard, but I like these kind of edges. And then what I could do is arrange this or cut this up and reassemble it. Obviously the colour's looking pretty cool as well. Kind of looks marbleized or, like an organic stone. Really, really kind of cool. Yeah? Here you can see the little one, which is kind of an extension of this one over here, but in a lot more detail. Here it's much finer. Here you can see it's much thicker. And I like this because it's really kind of very intricate. Again, it's not rocket science, it has been done before, but I do like all this area that has been kind of chopped up and really quite raw. I like these edges through here. It almost looks like broken wood, that's been washed up on the seashore. The colour's important. Rossa Generis basically did all the colours on these. Thank you, Rossa. Rossa's my right-hand girl when it kind of comes to colour and her brain, so it's nice to work with the team. And again, just kind of working it through there, and what you could do is take this off, cut it up, and that will have another life. So, for those of you who just joined me, please don't forget to join me on my Facebook, Damien Carney. It is full at the moment, so I can't accept any more, but you can join me on Damien Carney Professional, where you can see more of my work. Instagram, it's Damien Carney Pro. Twitter is just simply Damien Carney. And don't forget to check out my website, damiencarney.com, where you'll find updates on education programs. Why not attend a photo shoot with me here in New York? Or if it's a cutting program, be advanced or not, you want to brush up your skills, I can offer those for you. I want to say a big shout and a great thank you to the hair nerds. Without them, I wouldn't be here tonight. So I hope you've enjoyed my, half an hour with me. A little bit of a breakdown of the kind of techniques and everything else and where they started. Don't forget, have the right tools, have a concept, work and play. You don't always have to use wigs, you can use real hair, and you can do these things with real hair. The only thing is that quite simply when you're doing it, if you're doing a spread that has a lot of images, it just allowed me to get through everything much, much quicker. So, maybe it's one or two things that you're inspired by, and at the end of the day, it's all about, pleasing your heart and your soul and everything else, and making everybody feel beautiful, because at the end of the day, this is what matters, is the model. And the model was really wonderful. Thanks to Natalia at Q Models New York, who's absolutely beautiful. It was difficult actually to choose the images because they were all beautiful. And to Mia, who did basically the wardrobe styling, and to also Aya, who did the makeup. It was really a great team spirit. So please, don't forget to check me out. I look forward to seeing you soon, and follow me on all of those kind of media things. I'll be following you. It's never too early or too late to pick up something that you might want to try and share at the end of the day. So from a very, very hot New York day and evening here, and we're all sweating under these lights trying to look cool, I'm going to probably have a good shower, a gin and tonic, and I'm going to go for dinner. So I look forward to seeing you. Thank you, hair nerds. I love you. Much, much appreciated. Please give some feedback. And if I haven't covered, which may not have covered because I'm not perfect, any questions, you're very, very welcome to question me on any of those media sites. I promise I will personally reply. So good night from New York. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much.